All right. So there is a one more concept in the VBA. Instead of using if conditions, you can use the alternative called case example. Okay. Case conditions. It's quite easy actually, writing the same kind of information what you have done with the if condition. All this example what I've done with the if condition can be achieved with the case condition also. The quick question which bothers me always, why we have it two options here. The same thing when I can achieve with the if conditions. In every programming language, we have alternative. Like in other programming language, it is called as a switch conditions. And if condition is if condition only, but case is called as a switch example there. But here in this case, when you want to perform certain action, just like your if conditions, you need to create that as a case. So let me show you the syntax so that you can follow along here. So first we need to write, select a case. Then we'll try to go with the theoretical information. Select a case, then condition, then you'll say what is your case, okay, and what is your condition. Then again we are going to use what code you want to write. Again case, it's quite easy, but which one to use, we'll have a discussion. What code you want to write. At the last, I want to say something like not a case, maybe I want to use case else. Here I started with the select case, so I need to end with select case, end select. So it looks somewhat similar to my if conditions what I just learned. If you need to break it down to a simple if condition, let me compare with this simple if condition. This is your simple if condition, like select case, what is your condition, and case condition, then what you want to do. But again, if, as I said, in the real time, we will not end up with only one condition, we'll have multiple conditions. So multiple condition, the way I use there, like else if, here I need to use case, case, case. How many cases, again, I don't know, because it depends upon the number of conditions you want to satisfy. It's quite easy. Here, whenever you say case, we need to say is. Is a keyword which we need to use everywhere. Case is what condition? Case is what condition? Okay. Now, while comparing with the if condition I've been using since long time, I found it very interesting. And when you look at some other people who developers who are writing this if condition in this case style, I don't want you to get surprised. I know if condition, but I don't know the select case. So some people prefer to write the same logic what I built with the if conditions. You can also achieve by using the select case statements, which is an alternative exactly with the if condition. Some people find it's quite easy to write in this style. Some people find if condition to write easy manner, but I prefer using if conditions. But choice is yours always. I use always if condition because for anybody, for even a layman, can easily understand what I'm trying to uh, what kind of program I'm writing here. I'm telling if this condition, then what do you want to do? Else if, then what do you want to do? Else, what you want to do? It looks like as it very similar to our English, but in case of a case, it looks little complicated, but writing is quite easy in select case. So choice is yours. Either you can use if conditions, either you can use a select a case statement. There is always a debate on this, which one is better actually, which one to use, and why we have two options. Some people prefer case statement works faster than the if conditions. Some people say if condition works faster than the case statement, but still there's no solution there, because as long as you're working on a bigger data set, then probably you'll find the difference. But if condition works faster than the select case statements. So again, I keep repeatedly saying it, choice is yours, which one you want to use, which one you are comfortable. But having knowledge on the both the things is always good. If you're not good at if conditions, go with the select case statement. If you're not good at the case statement, go with the if conditions. Either of the thing, if you're perfect, then it's fine, because both works in the same manner. So to give the same example, let me steal my own code what I've written with the if condition, in order to have a better understanding. Okay, this I'm copying here. I'm going to my if condition, pasting here. Okay, instead of if condition, Here I want to say, let me put some different number here, 4, because it will not understand. Okay, so here what I want to do is I want to use the select case now, because I'm just learning select underscore case example. Now you'll see how quickly the same example I'm turning out to a case, and you'll not find any difference at all. But the only thing is the syntax is going to be different. The syntax is going to be different. So here what I want to do is I want to quickly declare a variable called marks, maybe just like that, as an integer. Okay. Well, so what marks is storing, as you know, marks can be had a range you can use, or you can use input box, or you can use simply a static number called 10. All right. So here I want to say select case. If the case is marks, that means I'm trying to understand what is my condition. My condition is marks. What is marks is getting stored here. That is, okay, when I run this, before we go further, I want to see that, okay, it is telling me something issue with your program. The way I'm writing the if condition, it should be always closed with end if. Here also there is something it is saying. Select case without end select. That means you cannot go further without the moment. Even now I do the practice, like whenever I start if condition, I'll immediately close it and start writing the program. So that's a best practice. So I started with select, but I'm not written end select. So now this is a complete. Later on you can start developing your code. So here I've written a simple case statement saying that select a case is marks, nothing but my, this is what my syntax is saying. It's not me who is saying it is select case, then condition. Okay, what is your condition? Condition is your marks. Okay, now after this marks is been there, okay, because the marks is already stored as a 10 as a static value, which you can take as a range also, you can take as an input box also, whatever we can take. Now here I want to say case is, why case is? Because that's a syntax. You can see here case is. Now you want to say if the case is uh, greater than or equal to, let's say the same example, greater than or equal to 60, that's it, end. Now you want to print that output in the form of message box. Let's say you want to say yes, maybe, or no. Okay, here I'm not making it complicated, simple with simple case. The way I've developed the code with the simple condition, then I went for else if, else condition, then I went into a else if. So let me run it. I want to see what kind of errors or what is the output I'm going to get, because it's a simple syntax which I just started with like this, and with the if conditions like this, with a case statement like this. So I'm slowly trying to understand what is this marks is all about. Marks is showing 0, obviously, because you assigned in the second line. This line is telling me that 10 is related to marks. So now when I place my mouse pointer on that, as I said, the variable value is stored in the memory location, which nobody can see it. But luckily in the VBA, we have an option of, like, when you place a mouse pointer on variables, we can see what actually it is storing. But in the computer memory, how it is storing, nobody knows. We cannot look at it. Now I'm telling my case, select a case statement is marks. That is, it's telling me 10. Now I'm telling if case is greater than 60, okay, it is saying it is not. 10 is greater than 60, no. So I'm not getting any response actually, but let me try to make it 70 and try to test it. Is select a case marks is greater than, yes, it's working. So that means what? My understanding here, what it is trying to say is select a case marks, so whatever the marks is getting stored as 70, it is trying to check with the condition called is greater than 60, is greater than 50, or whatever the number might be, and saying in the message box yes. So slowly try to improvise this condition. I'm trying to take this copy and paste. Now I want to check, let me put a bigger number here, 100. Okay, yes, it is greater than 100. Okay, this is what I want to say. This is greater than 90. We'll make it little complicated, but first I'm trying to understand the syntax. Case is, this is 80. This 80, how quickly I'm able to copy and paste and change my requirement, because I know what is my program is all about. I want to compare given number is greater than 100, 90, 80, or whatever. So here I want to say 70. This is above 70. This is copy and paste again. This I want to make it 60. This is again 60. Okay, looking very fantastic so far. So let me run and see if it is working. First, it is checking marks is what? Okay, 70. Marks is 70. Yes, marks is 70. Everywhere it is 70 because it's 70. You have assigned a number called 70. Now I'm checking if this case is greater than 100. No, because it's not greater than 100. Okay, it's coming to the second case here. It is checking second condition. No. Third condition is checking. Second condition in the 1, 2, 3, fourth condition, it realized this number 70, which is greater than 70 only. So that means greater than or equal to, that is what you have given. So it's saying message box 8 is greater than 70. So you got a message. So that means it works similar to your if condition. There's no difference. So what is the difference if you ask me? It's the only a syntax is different. And some people find it very, very easy, and it's very easy to work with a case statement rather than if condition. But I prefer if condition. I told you the reason, because if condition, if I write, if you don't know ABC of programming also, if you come and look at my code, you'll understand, okay, is this guy is trying to tell if this condition is this, then you want, it looks like a plain English words. But here, I'm not saying it's a complicated, but it's not so easy to understand for a layperson until unless if you know the syntax. At the last, you want to say, okay, here we are using a else condition, right? In the if one, you're saying else, what you want to say? You want to say no. That means the last condition. So I'm saying no here. Let me go back and see the same style here, case else. That means I'm not putting any conditional here. Directly I'm putting case else and saying simply something, some message I want to say no. So by doing that, what I'm trying to do is, okay, let me put some smaller number, which is not either greater than 100, either 90, 80, 70, 60. So obviously it should come to case select else statement. So let's see as a developer how this program is working. First, it is checking what is my, if you observe again, let me repeat this. I'm at the F8 key, I'm at the starting line. When I'm saying F8, this is not going to this line. VBA will never check what are the declarations you have done. It will only check when you assign something to that, then it will go and cross check. Okay, you said you are assigning a value called 10. Is it is a number type? Is this guy has declared this marks as an integer or not? So that means it's not checking initially, it's checking later. So if you check, if you see, if I click on F8, it's directly going to a marks, but not to the this line. It's not checking. Once I'm crossing this line, it's internally going and checking what is this marks actually stands for and what this guy is doing. So select case, it is checking, is it greater than? No. Is it? No, no, no. If you observe, it is not going to any of the message box because it's not really interesting for the macro. Because macro knows that my condition I need, my job is only to check whether it is greater than 10 or not. My value is 10, is greater than or not. That is what it's trying to check. And finally, it came to a condition called no, because none of the condition is getting satisfied there. For example, you ask like, what is your account number? It's not matching. What's your credit card number? It's not matching. What's your full name? It's not matching. Which organization you work in? Not matching. Last, you want to say you are not a customer to this bank, or you want to say some end response to the user. So this is how a simple case statement we have just used multiple cases here. Whereas if you look at this if conditions, I used a statement called it's just a keyword, right? So I used else if. Else if is a keyword, but here if you come up, there is no else if. Like directly we are saying cases. Though it's very easy to read. First it is saying whether I'm greater than 100 or not. Then you are giving some output. Though it's easy to use, but I most of the time, 100 times, I try to use only if conditions. Uh, and that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at some other code also, when you want to develop your coding, it's always advisable to look into other codings also. Somebody who has written on the web, you want to compare. So I don't want you be surprised to see what is this select case I've never seen. No, it's not a new one. It's just like a if condition. The thing is alternative of writing your if conditions. So whichever you feel is easy, you can start using. There is nothing like only, there's nothing a mandatory one, like you need to use only that one, not this one. All right. Sub select case. All right. So, okay. So, so far I was declaring number. Okay. Let's try to go with some date. First of all, before you write any program, your mindset should be asking only one question: what I want to do actually, what I want to achieve. Okay. For example, you want to take somebody's date of birth and you want to find out what is your age, okay? Or else you want to take a account number. I want to check with my Excel sheet whether you're a valid customer or not. You want to take a customer name and you want to find in your database whether you are existing or not. So the program or the project or the proof of concept should be very clear in your mind, so that while you're writing the code, you'll really enjoy it. But if you don't know what you want to achieve and you start writing the code, it's always a confusing. So now my program is all about, like, I want to give some date. So here what I want to do is I want to give some date there, and I want to find whether it is, let's take this way, otherwise, whether it is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know. I want to give some date. I want to find out which day it's fall. So that means my project is clear. So if I want to start this project, do I need to use a if condition? Yes, I can use. Do I need to use a case statement? Yes, of course I can use. So, but what are the things I require before I start this program? I require for sure a variable called some variable which can store the date, right? So let me start declaring a variable as dt, which stands for date, and it's not mandatory. You can go for anything. So I know there is a variable called dt, whose data type is going to be date. So that means dt is always going to store only date, nothing else. Now, what is dt? I need to mention somewhere else, right? So dt equal to, I'm going to say some random numbers. So 09, uh, 9, what should I given, 19, 20, 20, maybe, I don't know. I've given some random date. We'll change it. We'll try to take dynamic date later. I've given some static date here. So now when I don't want to be in a hurry because I'm just learning. uh, what I do is, till today also, when I'm writing a big programs or smaller programs, first I want to see whatever the 2 lines or 1 line I've written, is it working? Okay, it's already there. So let me, okay, what is the error? This, by the way, this error, it's showing up because this macro is already existing, so you cannot use the same name again and again. So try to give something there which can make differentiated. So when I'm running this, dt is storing this date. Dt is storing this date. Okay, so that means my job is done as per these 2 lines are concerned. So whenever I'm writing the next few lines, I will never try to come to these 2 lines to check whether it's working or not, because my first step itself, I have achieved that this dt is able to store the date. When it is working, then I can follow along with the rest of the code. I confidently I can write the rest of the code. But if you're not, this dt is not really storing the data, writing the next steps doesn't make any sense, because with the help of this dt only, you are going to check whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or somebody's uh, age you want to find out by giving the date. Okay, so either you can use the select, means I want you guys to start with the select if condition, but I want to write with a case now. Let's see how it works. Select, I know I need to use this. Okay, now then I need to use a end select. This is how your typically select case is going to be, and here we need to use dt. All right, so first I'm declaring a variable called dt. Dt is storing something called date. Now I'm saying select case dt. So am I writing something different? No, let me go back to my previous case. Here I've written, declared a variable called marks. Marks is stored something called a value. And here I'm saying select a case marks. So what is different here? Here I'm declaring a variable called dt. Dt is storing some date. Select case date. Now you start comparing this date and check if it is Monday, then say Monday. If it is Tuesday, then say Tuesday. So in computer programming language, the weekdays are denoted with numbers. Oh, yes, the Monday is always started with 1. Okay, Tuesday is with 2. Wednesday is 3. Uh, Wednesday, Thursday is 4, something, so on. So instead of using numbers, I always recommend to use text so that anybody can easily understand. For example, if you go to this message box, VB yes, VB no, VB cancel. Instead of using 2, 6, I don't know what is the last one. I lost it. There is a 2, there is a 6, there is a 7, right? 6 stands for yes, 7 stands for no, 2 stands for cancel. Instead of remaining with the numbers, try to give the full-fledged string. So select case DT. Then I want to say case. Here, instead of using 7, okay, if it is a 7, I want to say it is a Monday. If it is 6, it is Tuesday. Instead of saying those with the numbers, let's try to use by default keywords which are there in the VBA library. So VB, I want to say Monday. Excellent. We have VBA Monday. So if the case DT, if this day is falling under this Monday, then it will say it is today's Monday, right? So message box, let's say it's Monday. Okay, then I'm copying this same thing. We'll see what's happening here, what kind of mistake I'm doing. We need to notice here Tuesday. I don't know the spelling, so I can take the help of IntelliSense. So always use the IntelliSense by using the control space bar to get it. After writing the few letters, you can use simply the tab to get the complete statement. Now I want to say Tuesday. Okay, I want to copy this again. I want to paste it here. Instead of Tuesday, here it's Wednesday. I don't know the spelling. VBWD. Okay, I got it. So I'm simply using tab. So that's how you can make your coding very faster. Instead of writing the whole stuff, here Wednesday, after Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday. All right, I got it. Then I want to make it VB Thursday, then Friday. This is Friday. It's only conditions. Based on conditions you are trying to check. So now I'm saying it is after Friday, it is Saturday. I want to say it is Saturday. So I'm going to run into some errors. We'll see what are those errors and how to clear those errors. This is Saturday. After the Saturday, we have Sunday. So at the last, I don't want to give the condition because by default, if nothing is matching, it will go into a Sunday. But also I can check VB Sunday here. But this condition is not required because as you know, last one is always else part. So here I want to say Sunday. Now let me see what the error I've done here so that I can really understand. Let me make it this. This is how you are going to indent. Indent is nothing but giving the spaces so that it can look beautiful, but VBA will never demand you, it is mandatory. No, it is not mandatory. But if you're talking about a Python recommends you need to use this many spaces to give your output line. But in VBA, it's not mandatory. Even if you're putting this line from the starting, doesn't matter. But in the Python, it will not work. We need to give this space. It's mandatory. So Python has a different structure, though it's easy, but it has some rigid rules to be followed. All right, this is a simple example how to run your, to check given date of birth, what is your age or whether this particular day falls under Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or something. So let me see if it really works. I'm running it. DT stands for, what is today? Let me give today's date, otherwise 12 and 26, 2020. All right. I'm running it. Is it Monday? No. Is it Tuesday at least? No. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nothing is working. So let me say 25th here. I'm running it. DT is 25th. That is yesterday. Yesterday is being Friday. I should be stopping here and getting the output. But let me see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday also crossed and I got the Saturday. That means my program is not working well. Sunday, that's it. So it's not working actually. But guys, remember this date, if you look at, is not a simple date. It's not a simple day. It is showing 12. That means nothing but your month. 25 is nothing but your day. 2020 is nothing but year. So have you extracted? Have you extracted from this entire date day? No. So if I want to do the same thing in Excel, let me see how I can do it. This is my date. As you know, control colon, you'll get the date. We know that. If I want to extract only date from this or weekday, if I want to get, you will say weekday, we have something called a function, right? I mean, we have a formula. If I say weekday, then this cell and say enter, I would be getting some number. So today is being, what is it? Saturday, I'm getting 7. 7 is the number. So let me change this to 27, 1. Okay. So let me see what is today. Today is Saturday. So Saturday is being 7. So this how I don't want to remember with the numbers. 25 is 6. So however, I'm getting some numbers. That means so what 6 stands for, I want to denote now through the help of coding. Let's see. I want to go for this. Here, as I said, you have not converted your entire data set date into some weekday, right? So how I can change date? Let me go back to Excel and understand. This is your date. If you want to convert this, you are using something called weekday as a function, and you're putting that cell reference here. The same thing you are going to do here. If you understand this logic, all those 450 plus functions, what all you can be implemented in the VBA. That means uh, dt is your actual variable which is storing the date, right? So dt, if I see, this is storing, but this dt I want to convert into a weekday. So let me say if it works or not. Let's see. Week, day, open and closing parenthesis. That's it. Come out. Weekday is converted into proper case. That means it's a right keyword what I used. So if you observe this code which you have written in the VBA, if you observe this code, okay, which you observe this code, both are same actually, but this is working in the interface called Excel, this is working in the interface called your VBA. So that's it, that's the only difference. If you know the key, that's it, over. So let me go back. Here I converted. Now let's try to see the magic if it really works. I'm trying to check dt. Okay, initially it's telling me what is date. Now once I come out of this, it is telling me still the date. Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Oh, it's a Friday. Why? The date is 25th. So let me convert to today. Okay. Now close this, come out. DT is storing the date. Is it checking? Is it a VBA 2? VBA Monday? No. Is it Tuesday? No. Is it Wednesday? No. Thursday? Friday? Is it Saturday? Yes, it is Saturday. So that means the condition is being satisfied here. If you want to write the whole information in the VBA, if condition, how you are going to write? Just remove all the cases and start using if. That's it. Can we do a simple example now? Put it here. I'll remove all the cases, but we need to know the numbers right here. So I need to say if weekday equals to VB Monday, then what you want to do? Okay, this is this. I don't want to use else. I want to use else if. This is not Monday. This is VB Tuesday. Okay, yeah. Now this is Wednesday. This is Thursday. How quickly we are able to convert. I'm really surprised both are giving the same result. So which one to go for? It's completely my ease. I mean, if whichever I'm feeling easy, I can go for it. It's nothing mandatory. We need to use only this. So this is Saturday. So let me Saturday. This is Sunday. That's it. So this is with the if condition. This is with your, let me make it closer so that you can see the real difference between these two. It started with case, it started with if condition. It started with the second condition as a case, it started with else if what you want to do. And the last, you can either write this as a Sunday or simply leave it. And you can say as else this. But the problem here is end select. No, that's not the right keyword. I need to use end if. That's it. So this is a whole program. Either you can write with the if condition or with a case statement. Doesn't matter how you're writing it. Zoom recording. All right. Okay. The next important topic is loops. Loops are nothing but whenever you want to repeat an action for several times. How many times? I don't know. If you want to repeat certain things 10 times, you can repeat. If you want to repeat certain things 20 times, you can repeat. But when your data is unknown, that means today I have a 10,000 customers. I know that's a target end line 10,000. But tomorrow, if even one customer is added, I don't know what is the end row. So that means I want to perform job based on the record set, the number of lines. So whenever you want to repeat certain things, we need to use a loops. The word itself is indicating you. Loop is nothing but repeating. For example, let's take a practical example. You have a smartphone, you have your favorite song on your mobile, and you are just playing it and it will play only once, right? You have another option called keep it in loop. That means if you keep that out of 100 songs or 200 songs, if you keep one particular song into loop, it will keep playing, keep playing until you stop it, right? If you don't stop it, it will never stop. So that means the loop works based on your instruction what you have given. If you say after certain after some time, if you stop it, that means you want to run it for 10 times or 2 times 3 times. All right, if you don't specify loop, it will run only for one and it will move on to the second song. So that's what how it works. In technically, what happens is when you are talking about Excel, because Excel is a completely cell based. This is a row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the live environment, we always loop through rows in order to perform certain action. For instance, let me take a very old fashioned type of code here and see what are the disadvantages before we actually get into this loops example. I want to write example one. I want to write range a1 dot value equal to 1. 1 being a number, I don't want to put it in double quotes. This is 2. What if I want to print 10 numbers, what the code I'm going to write? Okay, 3, this is 4, this is 4, this is 5. I'm sure it's looking really boring looking at the code, and just imagine the way I'm writing also, it's really boring. So that means I want to print 10 numbers. I'm writing this line 10 times. So that means I'm writing again 7. This is 7. This is 8. This is 8. This is 9. This is 9. I'm just copying and pasting the same very old line. This is 10 and this is 810. And if you look at, this is what we learned. A stands for the column name and 1 stands for the number in which cell you're referring. For example, if I'm selecting this cell, that means this is a A7. That means A is a column name, 7 is a row number. So here, if I select A1, if I select here B1, if I select here E8. So that is what I'm trying to say. Even with my VBA, always try to print the number called 1 in this A1 cell, 2 in the A2 cell, 3 in the A3 cell. So when I run this, no surprise, you'll be getting 1. Okay, I'll get the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there is a format problem. We've given the date there, so it's try to print that way. So let me close this. 1, 2, 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, 9, 10. Okay, it's working. So that means if I want to print a 10,000 numbers, will it be possible to copy this 10 lines into 10,000? No, I have to do manually everything. So let me copy this entire lines. I want to print 20 numbers this time. So that means I need to say 11, this is 12, this is 13, this is 14, this is 15, this is 16, this is 17, this is 18. It's looking very, very boring, I know. This is 19, this is 20. So that means when I want to repeat certain tasks, I can only do this way because I have only this knowledge so far. I don't know the topic called loops, how to use them, I don't know. If you know that concept, you'll not be doing the stuff this way. So if I run this, it's a single go. Okay, I can run it directly, right? Instead of using F8, I can run it directly. I'm running it. I got 20 numbers here. Perfect. So I'm able to print the 20 numbers, but I'm not really happy with this type of coding because I need to write everything manually, right? So this, how many times you're writing, how that many times it will execute. If you see F8, Okay, it's printing 1, then it's printing 2, then it's printing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here, whatever the concept I'm saying, it is not the way to write. If 1 or 2 lines, it's fine. If you're dealing with the data sets of thousands, millions of rows, we are not going to perform the job this way. We want to do the same job printing 20 numbers or tomorrow 20,000 lines with a single 2 3 lines of coding. How to achieve? By using the loops. Let's try to take a look. Okay, as I said, loops are nothing but whenever you want to repeat certain tasks. For example, let's take the basic example before we actually move on to working with the different workbooks, different worksheets, or different data sets. I want to understand these loops in a simple manner, how to print 1 to 10 numbers by using a loops. So loops is uh, existing again in every programming language. It is not only for a VBA. Okay, there are 4 different type of loops here. Let's try to understand them first, and we'll try to execute step by step. So 4 types of loops. First, we have something called for loop. Okay, which is basically we have the first one is for loop. Okay, the next one we have something called, we'll go with in action with an example. Then we have something called do while. Then we have something called do until. Okay, you can make it really easy for loop. Do while the condition is satisfied. Do until the condition is satisfied. So the next we have something called for each. Okay, now the question again comes back to me asking why we have a 4 types of loops, and if I be the master of one loop, is that enough? Yes, no. Let's try to see that. The very first one saying for loop. Whenever you want to loop through sheets, okay. Whenever you want to loop through sheets or rows and columns, we are going to use this for loop. Okay, when I want to loop through the sheets, first of all, the question is why I want to loop through sheets. Let's assume we have some certain sheets here, and every sheet is your team member name and its data. For example, here we have a team member whose data is there here. That means you have some the number of volumes he processed, he put all the information here, and you have the next team member, next team member, next team member. That means you want to go to the first sheet, pick up all the numbers, go to the second sheet, pick up all the information, go to the other sheet, pick up all the information, go to the other sheet, pick up all the numbers. So that means you are going to each and every sheet. If I want to write this program by using if condition, yes, I can write it, but you need to write as many times as many sheets you have. But in the for loop, it's not required. For loop will automatically identifies how many sheets I have, how many times I need to do that job. So that's the easiest example what I was referring. So let me see how to use this for loop first. The basic thing we need to understand how we can. Okay, let me finish this first. Do while also works on the sheets and rows and columns. Do until also works on the same sheet. This also works on the same sheet. Yes, at the same time it works on the ranges. We don't know what is the range, we'll see a little bit later, but these are the 4 different types of loops available. I'll try to break it down each loop with a syntax, and we'll see a proper example, and we'll try to see how we can really make effective coding and telling this code is wrong. Okay, we want to prove that fact this code what I've written is wrong, and the code which I'm going to write is the best one. Okay, let's see the first example. So in order to start your first for loop, okay, let me, okay, sub for loop example. Okay, so what is your objective here? You want to print some numbers, right? So let me, in the A1 cell, I want to print 1. I want to print A1. In the A2, I want to print to 2. In the A3, I want to print 3. A4, I want to print 4. So something you want to print some numbers or something tomorrow, customer information, account numbers, or it could be anything. But I was trying to trying to understand this example better with a simple one, that is printing 1 to 3. So let me comment this for time being. I want to understand the syntax first for, okay, your start number. Oh, sorry. So the for variable name equals to, that's the syntax here, start number to end number. I'm just writing the syntax, not the actual code for variable name. For in the sense, for is a keyword, just like if is a keyword, select is a keyword, sub is a keyword. Okay, for is a keyword, variable name. Variable name again, it's a your wish. Equals to what is your starting number? To what is your end number. So that means I want to print 1 to 10 numbers. So you need to mention what is your starting number and what should be your ending number. That's how you can print the information. Then you need to close this with ending statement called loop. The way I'm ending my macro sub and end sub, the way I'm closing if condition with if and end if, the way I'm closing the select statement with select end select, the same way the for loop ends with for and the end statement is your loop. So let me write the code here. That's it. This is your 3 lines of code, what I'm referring to print whatever the numbers you want to print, or whenever you want to loop through in the sense you want to go through each and every line to check whether the customer is existing. For example, we have some 10,000 customers here. I want to check if Parthiva as a customer is existing in this entire 10,000 rows. How do I check? Even if I'm trying to check with my naked eyes, first I'll check, okay, is it the name matching with Parthiva? No. Second one, no. Third one, no. Fifth one, no. This is how I check even manually. Even the loop is going to check the same way, but it will be much faster. How? It will check first one, no. Second one, no. Third one, four. Same. That means I'm going to use for loop and if condition combination through which I'm going to achieve this one. So we'll do that example a little bit later. But before that, how to use syntax itself to work it on. So for I said I need a variable. Okay, first I need to prepare myself what I need. I need a variable. Okay, dim I as integer because numbers are stored only in integers, right? So it's not a string. So now I want to say is for. I'm sure for is going to be in looks in a blue color because it is a keyword. Variable name. So what is the variable name already declared? I. Then it's saying equals to. I need to use the equals to. That's a syntax I'm following. Equal to. It is telling me what is your starting number. Okay, let me say 1. It's saying what is your end number. Okay, I'm saying 10 is the ending number, but in between your start number and the end number there's some keyword again talking about telling you from this to 2 is a keyword which you are going to use. That's it. So I repeat, for is a keyword, then variable is your wish, whichever the variable you declared, equals to what is your starting number. Starting number is 1. Then 2 is a keyword. End number could be 10, 20. It's for now just I'm printing number, so I'm giving a static number. But tomorrow in live environment, you're going to make that end number also dynamic. Because today I have 10 customers, tomorrow 20 customers. So my loop should continue to the end of the customer. So in that case, it should be a dynamic here, not a static number what I'm giving right now. It's wrong, but accept it. But at this moment I'm learning, so I'm trying to give how to give the number there. So I'm using here loop. Okay, for loop always ends. Sorry guys, so for loop not ends with loop here. It is next. I'm trying to think about for each. Here we need to use the next. Okay. Apologies, we need to use for loop with next. So that means this for loop starts with for and ends with next. That's a keyword. Okay, I repeat, if condition with ends with end if, select case ends with end select, sub will starts with the sub and ends with end sub. For loop starts with for and ends with next. Next is a keyword which will is the end keyword there. So here I want to write the code what I want to do. Okay, so if I run this code now, I'm not going to see any output because it's keep running. It's running. Now it came out after repetition of 10 times. So that means first time it is checking what is I. Okay, it is one. I is 1. Then it's coming out. Then going back. Now let me show you practically. I'll keep the cursor here. I is a variable which is showing first time it is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not able to come out of the loop because the loop is still not satisfied the condition. What is my end number is 10, it is 6, it is 7, it is 8, it is 9, it is 10. Now once the condition is satisfied, it will come out of the loop. So till then it will keep running. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then it came out. So that means my code is perfectly working. Now what I want to achieve, I want to write this line here. Okay, Now let me go back and let me do some mistakes here. Let me do some mistakes here. I'm running this. First time it is 1. It is putting the number called 1. It is putting the one number, one number, one number, number. It's not working yet. So that means what? The problem here is you are referring A1. Here, instead of putting value equal to 1 as a static number, can I use a variable called I? Because I is a variable which is changing. First time it is 1, second time is 2, third time is 3. So let me put I here and see what is the difference I'm making here. First time it is printing 1, then is printing 2, then is printing 3, printing 4, printing 5. I'm successful in printing all the 10 numbers. But again, the problem is it is not printing in different cells, rather it is printing me in the same cells. It is printing in the same cells here. The problem is I is a variable which is storing the value of that particular numbers. First time I becomes 1, second time it becomes 2, third time it will become 3, fourth time it will become 4. So that's how I'm getting the numbers changed in numbers here. If I run it again, let me understand this. 1, I'm getting 3, I'm getting 4, I'm getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And once this is over, it will come out of the loop. That means after running several times, how many times? Because 10 is the end number what I've given. So after 10, it will stop running. That is what my end condition. If I give 10,000 times, it will run for 10,000 times. The problem is, again, the same issue here. It's not able to go to next row. My intention of printing the numbers is like this, printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, but it's not working. In this case, still my old code looks good rather than this new code. But let me see how can I still make certain things changes so that it can work. Now, if you look at this example properly, it is telling you always print in A1. But did we mention here first time it should be A1, second time it should be A2, third time it should be A3, but it's not changing, right? It is not at all changing because you're given. What if I can change? Let me comment this and I'll show you in the next line what is the change one. Instead of putting 1, 2, 3, I cannot write like this because again it becomes a manual kind of a code what you've written at the top. This is 2, this is 3. Let's see what happens in this way. When I'm running this is again a bad example. Uh, A1 it's printing 1, here printing 1, printing 1. This is 2, 2, 2, 2. No, this is a bad example again. It's not giving the result what I want. So let me remove all this information from here. It is not 1. It is not 2. It is not 3. As a developer, I don't want to write it. I want it to change automatically this number so that I can start printing the numbers into a different cell. So how do I do that? As you know that I is already storing the numbers. So this 1, A will be always static because A column you want to print, that 1 2 3 should be changed. So the 1 I'm removing it, I'm putting I. So that means this A is a column name, row I don't know, I is a variable which is trying to store from 1 to 10. So that means if I run this, I'll end up with an error saying that this is not working properly because this this is not attached. Because if I see this A1, it is combination. A1 is a combination, but here AI is not a combination. AI looks like it's a one more column name, right? So here, if you want to separate this A and I, you need to use ampersand, which is nothing but concatenating. Concatenating in the sense that I and A you are concatenating. First time A and I will be A1, A and I will be A2, A and I will be A3. Let's see how it works. I'm running this again. First time it is 1, okay. Second time it is the A, earlier it was 1 here, right? That I am not defining 1, 2, 3 anymore. This I will take care now, okay. This I will take care. Now it's printing 2, then it's printing 3, it's printing 4, printing 5, printing 6, 7. Now I'm saying it's not A1, A2. I'm saying A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A10, 9, 10. So no wonder if you change this to 10,000 and click on just your macro, within no time you'll be seeing 10,000 rows already printed without your knowledge. Just printed 10,000 lines here. So Just not printing 10,000 line is my target here. As a developer, I want to understand how typically this loop is working and how you can make certain things into loop. If you understood this particular logic, you can do wonders, because tomorrow you have to loop through the sheets, you want to loop through the folders, you want to loop through the workbooks, you want to do a lot of stuff in reality. But before you reach to that level, if you don't know the basic standard way of writing that loop basic, then you cannot go further. So that means like you started with the for loop, then you ended with the next. In between these two lines, what are the stuff you want to write, you can write it. Okay, we have seen how to use a for loop effectively, that is looping through. Uh, though I could able to print only 1 to 10 numbers, but that's not the actual live environment example. This is just the beginning of for loop, how to use it effectively, just printing 1 to 10 numbers on a different rows altogether. But having said that, like when you want to loop through the sheets, if you want to loop through the workbooks, it's always requirement, right? We have a folder in our share drive. We have some 10 files, or tomorrow 11 files. We don't know how many files are there, and you want to go to each file, open that, copy that information, and put it in your master workbook. That means you have two workbooks. One is master workbook, one is input workbook. Inputs are many. For example, Australia, Brazil, we have like 54 countries, 54 files are there. So it's very, very tedious job going to each country file, copying that raw data, putting into a master consolidation file. It's very impossible. And it's tend to do a lot of mistakes, because 54 files when you are opening, we are not sure if you have really done the job or not. But if you tell the same thing with the macro, it will do the job less than a minute. But if you want to do that real surprise magic, yes, we need to understand the lows better. So now it's not that always I want to print on a range. Maybe I can print on the message box also, right? Message box I. I is a variable which is printing 1, then it's printing 6. Okay, I've given the starting number as, let's give 1, and let me give ending number as 5, because I need to click that many times. So printing 1 on the 2, on the 3, on the 4, on the 5. But before this I want to print some message also. How we are going to concatenate, which you have already seen, but let me try to elaborate by giving one more example. This is your number. This is what I've written is wrong. The reason is I've said this is your number. This is your number is a text which I want to display on the message box. It should be ideally in double quotes, right? If I put this I also in double quotes, what happens? I want to see the error. If I'm running this, this is your number I. 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 It's keep printing I only, but I don't want I to be printed. Rather, I want to print I value. So let me keep outside without double quotes. Okay, without double quotes, I'm putting outside. When I'm trying to run, it's not allowing me. The reason is I is a variable and this is your number is a string, and there's no concatenation. Concatenation in the sense you are not combining them by using ampersand. So let me use this I ampersand here. That's it. So that now it is combined. Now when I'm running this, it will show you exactly what you require. This is your number 1. This is your number 2. This is your number 3. But I observed uh, the complete text is combined. There is no space between that. So how you can get the space? We have seen on the Excel. I want to use double quotes, ampersand again. Let me go back to Excel here. I said Monty here. I said Excel. Then if I say equals to this ampersand of this, I'm getting Monty Excel, but there is no space here. I wanted a space. That's how I want to display his full name. So what you can do is double quotes, ampersand. Use ampersand here. Same logic what you use in Excel. When I say that, I get this amount of space. But if you're not happy, if you want to put some hyphens also in between that, like how you want to display Monty Excel with some space, or you want to give some special characters like at the rate. So you'll get Monty at the rate Excel. If you use Ash, nothing but what I'm trying to explain is within double quotes, whatever you put, whatever the information, it will as is print. So in the same fashion, if you want to do the same thing with your message box also, you try to use something here, hyphen maybe. Okay, use as many spaces so that you can see the spaces there. Now I'm getting hyphen 2, hyphen 3, -4, -5. So this is about your concatenation. Concatenation is really, really important. You need to really clearly understand how to concatenate a string and a variable. The variable and a string, this is how you concatenate. If you don't want a space, simply use &I. That's it. But if you want a space, always use double quotes, ampersand, the way I used in Excel. The same Excel function I'm using, nothing else. I'm using without any special character, that's it. So space. When you want a space, this is how you are going to use in your Excel. The same concept I'm using here. Now, having understood this for loop, I want to understand what is the other loop and what this can do. There are four types of loops, as I said, that is a for loop. And okay, let me go back to the screen. For loop, we have something called do while, we have do until, we have for each. So for me, if I look at the experience what I had with the loops, I used very extensively the first one and the last one. So what does it mean? The second one and the third one is not important. It's not really, actually. If you think like you're perfect with the for loop and for each last one, those are the two loops which makes your entire project with the if condition combination. Having knowledge on do until how it works, do while it works, it's really good. If someone has written instead of for loop, they used a do while, doesn't matter. You should be in a position to understand how they have written. It's only a syntax is different. Otherwise, you'll be finding the same structures. You'll be finding the same structures here. So let me see do while. For loop will work until the condition is satisfied. What is my condition here? I started with a blank. Then it understand, okay, my first number is 1. Then it is running this entire code and it's coming back and checking what is I. Okay, this time it is 2. Its entire code is working. Again, it is coming back here, checking what is my condition. Okay, 5. I'm still at the 3. Okay, let me repeat again. Okay, now I'm 4. Let me repeat again. Now I'm 5. Okay, this is the fifth time I'm running. That's it, last. I'm not going to run anymore because your condition is satisfied. That is 5. It will run here, and from here next it will come out of the macro. So it will run only that many times what you specified as your end number. Let's see the example of do while now. Sub do while example. That's my simply macro name. So very first thing I need to start using variables now, because without variables, I cannot write any program anymore, because that's what I learned in the last week. So first I'm declaring a variable called dim, ye, or I, or anything as integer, simply any variable name. Now I want to write the condition. So the syntax, how it goes. So let me learn the syntax first before I write the program. It starts with do, then while, okay, your variable condition. Okay, do while your condition, then how this loop is going to end is with the loop. Okay, only 2 lines of code with the do while, just like for loop, there are 2 lines, starts with for and next is a end keyword. Here also same, but there is a little complicated thing in this, which we'll try to understand with the errors. So this is in between that, obviously your code, what you want to obviously print out to the end user. So let me start beginning this do while I is nothing but a variable which I have declared already, but I have not uncommented it. Okay, I is a variable. Let me say simply I less than or equal to 10 for now. That's a condition. Okay, the way the for loop is having a condition here, I equal to 1 to 5. You are very, very explicitly mentioning I is starting number is 1, ending number is 5. But here something is missing actually. Let's try to understand this. I is a variable which doesn't have any starting number, but you are saying it should be a condition should be less than 10. Okay, let me see how it works. I said loop. Okay, this loop will, if I run this, of course you'll not get any output, but let's try to see. Now once I come back to loop, again it will go to do while, it will come back, it will go to loop, it will keep checking. Once it meets the condition I as a 10, it will come out. But now it's, even if I'm pressing 100 times, 1000 times, it's not coming out. That means this loop has went to infinite. Why? Because this loop doesn't know where to start. It knows where to end, but it doesn't know where to start. So this loop is not really clear actually, as per the structure is concerned. So we need to mention somewhere the I, what is the starting number? So what I'll do is I'm just going with the syntax here. This which I've not mentioned in the syntax, because this is what the 3 lines looks like. Here I need to specify I equal to 1. What I mean? That means my I should start with 1 always and should check the condition. If it is 10, while the condition is meeting, then you print the output. So what is my output? I want to print, let's go for the message box for now. Message box I. Let me give a smaller number so that I will not repeating F8 key here. I'm running it. Starting I is a 1. I is checking, am I less than 5? No. Print the I then. Okay. Then print I. It's printing I. It's printing only 1. So that means it is not able to understand what my intention is. I want to print numbers starting from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, whatever it may be. It's not really working. The reason is, okay, let me go back to for loop again. For loop is so intelligent and smart and very fast. It will first understand what is my condition. The condition is, first time it will see what is the condition, it will print. And this next is not going to for loop again. If you observe, it's going to message box directly printing the output. It's directly going to the message and printing. It's directly going to the message. That means it is not taking that many repetitions like a circle 5 times. So that means it has to run through 5 times here, but it's not, it's doing its job 5 times, it's running. But this next is not going to follow because it will remember in the first stage itself what is my condition. So it is not running again and again here. It's running between these two lines only. It's not going to here because first time when you're running, it will remember what is the condition. But in this case, it's not the same. See, when you are running this, it is checking what is the condition while the condition is meeting. Okay, it's printing. Then again, this loop will go to do. It's going back. So that's why the do while is considered to be a little slower when it's compared to the for loop. That's a difference, primary difference. It's running, but again, the problem is not yet solved here. It's not giving the right results. So let me see what I can do here. Here I need to tell explicitly to the do while, can you please increase the number? Because you are not increasing the number. That's what my observation. You are just printing 1, 1, 1 for 5 times. No, that is I don't want. I want this I equal to I plus 1. That means first time I is 1. Second time I will become 2. Next time I will become 3. Next time I will become 4 while the condition is meeting here. Let's try to see how the loop is circling as a developer. This is what I want to understand, not printing 1 to 10 numbers. First time it is going here, it is printing 1, okay. Then it coming here, I initially was 1, I equal to 1 plus 1 will become 2. So obviously next time I should be getting, again it's going back to do while to check what is the condition. That means do while is not able to remember what is condition. Every time it is going back and checking. While the condition is meeting, it is trying to perform the job. It's printing 2, fantastic. It is printing 3, very good. Printing 4, printing 5. So that means it's keep running. It's keep running. It's first try to check what is the first number, starting number. It is checking do while the condition is meeting to this ending number what you have given, less than or equal to whatever the signs you have given. Once it is printed the output, it doesn't know what to do. So I need to tell explicitly, can you please increase one number? Can you please increase two number? Whatever the number you give. If you say I plus 2, that means you want to increase with 2 number factor there. So that's how the loop is little complicated when I started exploring this do while. But if you are very good at for loop, that's very good because for loop works faster. If you observe again and again, I'm repeating this for loop, it will check the condition only once. It will print the output. It will not, this next is not going to for loop here. See, it's going to message box only and printing the output. Is printing much faster when it compared to do while. If you see do while, it is going and checking what is this I is less than 5. Okay, printing 1, printing 2. It is every time checking the condition, every time increasing the number, then only it is trying to print what you want. So this do while is little it's not really explicit. We need to make it explicit by mentioning what you want exactly. So do while starts with the do while as a keyword. You can see it's turned into a blue color. Loop is the end keyword, and this is your starting number. Let me put it here, start number, and this is your condition. Let me say here increase number by how much. Okay, and this is your ending number. Let me put this way. Yeah, that's it. That's it. This is how the loop works. Maybe when you compare with the for loop, it's not that easy loop. But however, if you are perfect with a for loop, then go for the for loop. Never try to use a while loop. While at certain conditions it's good, but most of the time it's not good loop to be used. Let me go for the next example. Then we'll take a pause to ask any questions. I'm going with the do while. Then I want to use the do until now. Now, what is do while and do until? Uh, does until has any difference here? Let's see. Do until. Here the condition is something same until your variable and the condition. Then here goes your loop, and explicitly mentioning or not, I don't know. Let me remove this message box also. Let me remove this also, starting number also. So I just end up with having only the structure, that is do while, variable, condition, code, and what is a loop. Now let me start doing the mistakes again. I want to start with the do while. Okay, I want to check do, so not just do while, it's a do until, right? So do until, if I is let's say greater than, this time we have used less than there. So is I is greater than 10, that's what my question is to the VBA. And it is saying message box, simply let's say, yeah, anything, message box I. Now I want to close it. How to close it again? It's a loop, same. Okay, now let me run this. Will I get the output? 1 0? Okay, 0 0. Why it is throwing zeros here? Unlike for loop, why it is not working very quickly? The problem is it doesn't know where to start. Okay, let me give you a startup issues. Let me resolve that. Your startup issue is you don't know what is your starting number. So let me provide you that. At least will you work at this moment? You know what is your starting number? 1 1. Oh, that means you are still not understanding what I want. That means you are not printing 1 to 10 numbers, even after knowing what is your starting number, what is your end number. So that means you need even the kickstart, that is I plus 1, that I need to increment by 1 every time to print your desired result. So that means 1, that means 2, that means 3, that means 4, whatever. So here, instead of printing on this, you want to print on range A1 dot value equal to I. Again, I'm doing a mistake here. Let me see what is that mistake. When I'm running this, I am printing the number 1, 2. See, while running also, it's so frustrating. Actually, I need to use F8 key. F8 key, it is checking what is I. It is increasing, checking the condition, printing the number, this coming back and going back to do while. It's just like a do while only, but until the condition is met, it works. Whereas the previous one, until while the condition is meeting, it will work. So here, again, the same issue I found. One, it should not be one static. It should be I, whatever the variable. It's not always I, it's whatever the variable. Now when I'm running, first time it is I is 1. Okay, very good. Until the I becomes greater than 10, can you please show me the result? Okay, first time it is 1. Then I'm telling, can you please increase it, because I want to print a one more number in the next cell. Okay, 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. That's how it will keep increasing the numbers, because I don't want to say it is lazy enough where we need to explicitly mention everything to give the output, but that's how it is designed, do while and do until. But for loop is very faster. It looks at a single glance what is my condition. It will keep throwing your output until the condition is satisfied. But whereas do while and do until takes a lot of time. It has to loop through every time, check back what is my condition and print the output. That's how the do until and do while works. If you look if you look at the syntax, there's no much difference. Actually, it says while here. Here it says until the condition is satisfied. Here the while the condition is satisfied. That's how these two loops works. But whereas the for loop is really beautiful in terms of writing, because we are explicitly mentioning what we want, what I want. My variable is I should be starting number is this, ending number is this. Instead of providing the starting and ending number here, we are trying to mention the starting number here, not here. That's how the syntax is there. So here also the starting number is goes here, not in the single line. All right, so let's see the fourth one, that is a sub for each. This is little different kind of a loop, but very popular. And with using this loop, you can achieve almost everything in your VBA projects. So for each example, how the syntax goes. First, let's try to understand syntax here. For each variable in objects, let me see objects here. Next, and here the code goes. That's it. So your for each always starts with a for each as a keyword, then ends with the next. And after that, we'll have a variable. Again, it depends upon what variable you have declared. In what? In what objects? So as I said, like object is everything, like your Excel application, it's an object. You and me is also an object. Your television is an object. Your car is an object. Your mobile is an object. Your sheet is an object. Your cell is an object. Your range is an object. Everything is an object. So when you're running this variable, when you're looping through your anything in your Excel, in which object you want to run? Is it in a cells? Is it in a ranges? Is it in worksheets? Is it in a workbooks? That is what the objects refers to here. So let me now let me print something here. Okay, before this, let me insert some different sheets here. I inserted some sheets which we have almost like 14 or 15 sheets. Okay, I just inserted manually. Okay, I am going for this. Yeah. So for each is a loop again, which will work through the ranges. Now here, before we start with an example, I want to understand what is the range. This is a single cell. When you are using a combination of cells, it is called as a range. So when you want to loop through this particular range only, then you are going to use that for loop. For loop also we can use it, but with the for each, let's see how effective it is. I want to print some numbers here, or let me take a random numbers, rand between some 10 to 100. Okay, I have taken some numbers. Okay, here I have some zero, here I have zero, here I have zero. So now my problem is, in this entire particular range, I want to find out with my VBA how many zeros are there in this particular column. And if at all, if you find any zero, please can you highlight it so that I quickly I can see what is that. So that means if I have to see with my nick dice, uh, is this a zero? No. Is this a zero? No. Is this a zero? So put it some color. Is this zero? No. Is this zero? No. Is this zero? Yes. Put the color. So that's how you do it manually. Or if you're good at auto filter, you simply select this and select all zeros and put it once as a highlighted color, so that you have multiple things to do. But now I'm not using Excel, rather I'm trying to use VBA. So how to do this with a VBA? Either you can auto filter, but I don't know how to write a code for the auto filter at this moment. I'm using for loop. So for loop or for each. So how to use complete the same task, how to complete the same task by using a for each. Let's try to see this very important example. This will uh, ice break lot of questions which you have in the mind. So for this, first I want to declare a variable. So far I declared a variable called dim a as integer, maybe dim b as a string, maybe dim c as byte, maybe. Okay, dim d as a long, maybe. So I know this type of variables. I know this kind of a data types. But now I'm going to declare a variable which is of object data type. Okay, which we have not heard so far, because when I was discussing, I have not discussed this topic. Why? Because we are just beginning stage of declaring and data type understanding. So we are not supposed to understand that as well at the same single go. So here I'm declaring a variable called dim, let's say C, as not integer, not string, not single, not double. This time I'm declaring a variable C as an object called range. As I said, for each loop will be in objects. So that means this sheet to this sheet, when I want to move, it's called as an object. So when I want to loop through an entire selection, or in this particular what you call selection is called as a range, right? In this range I want to loop through and check each condition is meeting or not. What is my condition? I want to check whether it's a zero or not. Tomorrow you want to check all the positive numbers you want to highlight. If you're working in the finance, you want to check all the negative characters, negative numbers you want to highlight, whatever the stuff. Or you want to check, if you're in a sales, you want to see any sales which are greater than 1,000, you want to highlight them. Okay, it could be any scenario, but if you understand the simple logic, you can do multiple activities here. So here what I want to do is dim C as a range. Now you declare the entire range as as an object here. It's not a data type. I mean, not a integer data type or any data type. It's a range object, a data type. Now, if I want to start my program, how I can do it? I want to say for each, I know the syntax for each. After that, I need to use a variable. So what is my variable here is C is a variable. Okay. In, in what? In, I need to use an object. So here the my object is nothing but selection. This is my selection. Okay. I don't know how much I'm selecting, but whichever the part I select, that is going to be my object. So here, to be precise, as a being a first step, I'm using some static style of writing code, but later we'll try to make it dynamic, more dynamic. Here in selection, okay, I'm saying for each C in selection. That means each C in the sense, this is C, this is C, this is C, this is C. But right now I'm not looping it. I'm just trying to tell you every cell will become C and it will check if this C is 0. No, if this C is 0, if this C is 0, if this 0. Earlier I used to say C equal to 10. That is a static, right? Now I don't know what C stands for. I stands for whatever this variable you declared. So it will change, the numbers will change here, so you have to do accordingly. Now I'm trying to say next as a ending statement for each. That's what I've written in this syntax for each variable in objects. And next, it looks very easy but does lot of complicated things. When it will try to solve most of our problems if you understand this loop and the for loop. And here I want to see if okay, let me go with one more example. Dim a as integer. If I say a dot, I'm not getting anything here, right? This a is a variable. It's not an object where I can get the properties and methods. But if you see here, what happens is now you declared C as a range. When I say C dot, I'll get all the properties. Guys, I repeat, C is not a simple a variable which is holding integer, string, date, boolean, byte, single, double, long, variant, whatever the data types you have. No, it is holding the entire range. That is what range you have selected here. That is what the range is selected. So whenever you use objects as in a data type, what happens is you will get all the properties and methods of it. Okay, you can use all the properties and methods of it. So here my variable is C, so C is becoming like an object for me. So let's see how it works now. If C dot value, okay, if I'm saying C dot value is less than 0, then I'm using if conditions what I learned today. And if it is less than, then what you want to do, that's up to me what I want to do. But first of all, I want to find out. Now first I'm trying to check. Let me see practically what you want to do. We'll see later. C in selection first. In the selection, my first value C value is greater than, okay, second is 73, third is 0, 14, it is showing 55. That means it's perfectly working. But now I have to decide, and I should know what is my project. My project is simply wherever I found zeros, I want to highlight them. Okay, maybe I want to highlight them. So what you want to do, C dot, how to give a value to a particular cell. Um, One second. C dot, like what you want to give a color to any particular cell. How you give interior dot. You want to say color equal to VB red, maybe you want to give a VB red. So whenever the condition is satisfied, you want to give a red. Otherwise, you don't want to do anything. If you want to do something else, you would have written something that is else condition. I'm not writing it, but let's see it. I'm running this, selecting it. Is it condition is satisfied? No. Condition is satisfied? No. Condition is satisfied? No. Something is missing. It's not working actually. If you see, it found it should be a 0, but it's still not working. I'll close this again. I'll select this entire portion. I'll go back. I'm running it. I want you to understand exactly what's happening here. C is a range. C is in selection. First, the C value is 50. It is being compared with less than 0 or not. Is it 0 or O?
Is
It's
it less
0.
than equal to 0? Maybe.
Yeah, it's less than. Okay, you can write. C is 50, which is not. C is 50, still 50. Is it 73? No. Okay, something is happening here. C value equal to 0. So that means in the third cell it's 0 and it is also saying 0. Can you make it red, please? Yes. Uh, am I matching with this number 14? No, 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 yes, no, no, here yes, no, no, yes. So that means you need to understand here not exactly coloring a cell, rather you need to understand how I'm able to loop through each cell by cell and able to exactly target the condition. Okay, you can also put something like this else part. Okay, we know that if you know else part how to use it. So let me remove the color here. Now if it is not red, I want to make it some other color. Else in the sense if the condition is not satisfied, can you make it something? Let me make it yellow. Okay, I run it in a single go, that is I'll use fi key or I'll use this one. Okay, so let me run this. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. It's working, but somewhere it is working. The reason is you have set in the selection, but does something is selected here? No, nothing is selected. So if I select only this portion and run this macro, it is working, but it's not working for the entire range. Not surprising actually, because you have not selected the entire portion. So let me select the entire portion now again. I'll go back and repeating again and again because the selection is playing very important role here. I run it single go, everything is perfectly matching. So the problem here is you need to have selection manually, then only it will work. But instead, I select manually this particular portion. Can I ask VBA only to select that portion? So how I can do it? Range A1 colon A14 dot select. That means you always select this portion yourself. I don't want to select myself. Okay, let me do that. Uh, Select it. Then in this selection, do the performance job. So that means I'm asking a question to myself and answering with the help of a coding here. That's it. I'm no better where to put the lines and where not. So I'm selecting, I'm putting, let me run it single go, that's it. So in the previous example, if I'm not selecting anything, it is not working. It will not work because you have not selected anything. Your selection is somewhere is here. Let's assume your selection is here. So that means your code will not work here. Okay. It's working weirdly because that everything is considered to be a zero here. So it's making the entire column into red. Everything is considered to be a zero because it's a null. Let me use that the code that is a single line code which I know initially as know it, range this to this, then select it, then do the job. That means first select it, then you do your looping. That means if you want to make it red color, red, yellow color, do it. So that's how it simply loop is working within the range, within the range. All right, so we have seen the if condition separately. We have seen the loops is now when you start using this combination, it's going to be wonderful. That means I have students like 7 students whose grade I want to decide if it is uh, above 60, I want to put them in a A grade. If it is above 40, I want to put it in a B grade. But if I want to do only with the if condition, it's not possible. It's possible for one student. It's possible for the second student also. If I copy the same code again and again, but I don't want to do that job. Let's see how it works. Now here, I already have the if condition. Now entire thing, this if condition is working on only one cell. But if you want in on every cell, if you want to work, what to do? We have to use a for loop. So before using the if condition, use the for loop, and after the end, use the end condition. The end condition is nothing but your next. Okay. Now this one condition, if condition, will keep repeating as many times as many students you have. Okay, as many students you have, it will keep repeating. To make it further, what you can do is for marks, we need to use a for loop, right? For I equal to, that means I don't have a variable called anything as integer. Now I need to say for I equal to, I want to say from where my students are starting from, that is 1. So I need to say 1 to how many students I have, that is 7. So let me say 7 here. For I equal to 1 to 7, that means please repeat this if condition for 7 times. That's what I'm saying. So if marks is greater than, so marks here, if you see, this marks is only talking about A2 cell, which is wrong, right? Here, my marks are first time in the A1 cell. then A2 cell, then A3 cell, then A4 cell. So that means you need to say something like this. You need to write marks equal to, instead of range A2, remove this 2 and say ampersand I. I'm not writing new. It's the same thing what I've done previously. So it is done. Instead of printing in the B1 only every time the result, I want to print in several cells. How to print in several cells? Instead of saying B2, can I say ampersand I? That's it, your job is done. Can I say B2, removing that ampersand I? Can I remove B2 ampersand I? Can I remove B2 and say ampersand I? Removing B2 ampersand I. Why? Because every row I want to keep moving, not in a one cell. That is what we learned in just previously. Ampersand I. Now my job is done. See, instead of writing for a one cell, now I'm able to do the job for the multiple cells. So let's try to understand this example. First time I is 1. So it is checking what is my mark, 60. This 60 will fall under which category actually? Let's see. This, okay. So this should print exactly to opposite to that one. Okay, it is printing exactly opposite to that number only. Very good. Now again, can you loop this? Yes. This checking. Okay, it's working. Let me put this way. Okay, so I'm running again. It's checking. So let me run single go. That's it. If I need to do with only this if condition, it is not possible. I need to use the for loop. With that combination only, it is possible to see how to work with multiple people. So here I have 7. I have written 7. But what if my number is increasing? Let's say I have some numbers. This loop will never understand that have increased the number of ranges, because if I run it quickly, it will work up to 7 only. It will not work with the 14. That means it doesn't know what is the ending number. So this is what the creating a problem here. This is static, right? This is a static number here. So this static number, you want to make it a dynamic, then only things will become very easy for us. So this 7 is culprit. So that means I defined my students are always 7. So you can mention 7. But when you don't know how many customers or the stakeholders or your students or participants are increasing, based on that you want to change, then you need to make it dynamic. How to make it dynamic? So if I now I know the last number is 14, so I can make 14 so that it can work. Simply I can work. See, it's within less than a second it has run the job for me. But how do I make this 14 or 13? I don't know how to make it. Let's see. Right now it is 14. Earlier it was 17. Let's say 17. Here I want to declare dim I or let's say last row, because I want to find out the last row first as long or integer maybe. Here, what I want to do is, I want to find out what is the last row of your cell. Okay, right now I know last row is 7. Tomorrow it will become 8. Tomorrow it will become 13 or 10,000. I don't know. So I want to dynamically find out what is my last number. So let me remove the cells here. I run this. Now, let me say that variable last row equals to, you need to understand very clearly what is this last row, how it works really. Okay. If you want to find out, first I need to find out range in the A column. I want to find the last row in the A column, right? If I look at the A column, then only I'll understand, okay, A14 is your last row. Tomorrow 16 is last row. So that means I need to find out, I need to count the number of cells we have in the A column. So I need to use ampersand. If I cannot use I or 1 or 2 because I don't know. When you don't know, we need to use rows dot count. We need to use a ampersand rows dot count. When you use rows dot count, it will try to understand, okay, first time it is A1, then it is A2, A3, A4. It will keep checking. When it doesn't find anything, it will assume this is your last number. Okay, so let's see how it works. This is still incomplete because it's not given the end part. As I said, when you say, okay, when you're trying to go from top to down, this is coming to end, right? If you are going from bottom to top, this is going from top. If you're going from a right side, this is the right, this is the left. So that is what the instruction I'm going to give to the VBA now. A ampersand rows dot count dot end. I'm not writing anything own. It's already predefined. End, open parenthesis, Excel down, go down please, dot row. That means by writing this line, just try to take a look how it works, then we'll go with the explanation. Now, when I'm running this line till here, last row it is showing as what? 10 lakh rows. But are we really looking for 10 lakh rows? I want the exact number of rows which you have here on the screen, right? That is A to 14. So here it is not giving the right result. Probably this down is not the right keyword to be used. Let me use Excel right. Okay. Now let me run this. When I'm going down, I'm expecting it should give me a right number. That is a 14 is your last number, but it is not understanding because you're going right side. Actually, your direction should not be right there. Either your direction should be not down. So I should be going to the up. Why up? Let's see. When I run this, last row, it is telling me 14. Excellent. So that means it's working. Let me increase my rows here, increase to 15. Will it work? Uh, yes, it's working. So that means it's able to understand me now with the Excel app. So range A1, generally how you write a range A1, right? Dot value. So here one I don't know, two I don't know, three I don't know. I want to find the last row. Instead of one, what I'm trying to write here is rows dot count. This is a default syntax. Rows dot count. Please find out the rows. In reality, how your Excel works is it will check what is the first row. It will go down, and from here it will come up and hit the last row, and it will see what is the number, not in the cell, but it will try to see what is the row number. That's what it is working here. So it's working fine. Now what I'll do is this last row I'll copy. Instead of putting 7 here, I'll put the last row as a variable. That means now I don't know what is the last number. Can you work for all the numbers? Yes, it's working. Let me increase the numbers now. Okay, I have some around like 30. It should work. 30, 40, I don't know. You should take care of that one because last row is finding that 30. Now when I run this, it should work for 30 rows. So that's it. It's keep working. If the numbers are increasing, your participants are increasing, doesn't matter. When the size of your data is not accurate or keep increasing, because it's in a real time, it's keep increasing, right? This is how you are going to find the last row. This is very important, finding last row in your Excel sheet. And here, this is what I learned just now. I need to use 10. I need to use 20. I need to use the 30. But as a programmer, I will not come to this code window to always fix the number. Or your end user, you will not tell, go to the code window and keep changing the number there. It's very bad way of writing. But what is the best way of writing? Just remove it. Use last row, which you just created yourself.